Okay, so in this video we're going to go over document number 8, electron configuration orbital notation. And I'm going to go through these examples on here to help you understand how to correctly do orbital notation. In order to do this correctly, you need a couple of resources with you. Always your periodic table, and then also document number 7 are notes, particularly the back side of that has the Aufbau diagram, and the reminder of Pauli's principle and also Hund's rule. So in order to do this correctly, we want to be using those resources. So our first problem here is beryllium. Of course, we need to know how many electrons are in the beryllium atom so that we can correctly draw the right number of electrons in our diagram here. So we go to our periodic table to figure that out, and we find beryllium and see that beryllium is atomic number 4, and so that tells us that beryllium has 4 electrons. So according to Aufbau's rule, we have to start filling these orbitals using the lowest energy level first, and that is going to be the 1s orbital. Of course, Pauli says that we have to make sure that we put those in with opposite spins, and since the s orbital only has one line for these electrons to fit on, Hund's rule doesn't really apply to the s orbital, since we only have one seat on this bus. So if I come back over here, I'm going to place those electrons on this 1s orbital, one going up and then one going down. So that's 2 of the 4 electrons that I need to put in this orbital diagram. According to Aufbau, next we move on to the 2s. So I come back to my orbital diagram and I see that I need to put one going up and one going down for my 4 electrons. This completes the orbital diagram for beryllium. It's a simple one because it has so few electrons. In the next one we have copper, and copper is a bit larger. So we come to our periodic table, we find copper on there. There's copper. It is number 29. So come back over here, we fill in the number 29 for our electron count. And again, using Aufbau's diagram is going to be very important because we have many electrons to put in here. So we want to make sure that we always follow this order. So I'm going to keep coming back and forth between these two documents to make sure that I am placing these electrons in the correct order. Okay. We know by now that we have to start in the 1s orbital. So of these 29 electrons, I'm going to put my first 2 here in the 1s orbital. Okay. Aufbau then says we move on to the 2s orbital. So back over here, the 2s orbital, I place one going up and one going down. So I now have drawn in here 4 of my 29 electrons. Next, we come back to the diagram and we see that we have to fill the 2p orbital. So back over here. Now we have our first orbital where we're going to have to follow Hund's rule, because now we have 3 seats on the bus. So Hund's rule says that we have to place 1 electron on each orbital here until we start pairing them up. So I know that I need 29 electrons, and I've only used 4 so far. That would be number 5, that would be number 6, this would be number 7. So this is going to be number 8, number 9, and number 10. I still have 19 electrons that I need to put into this diagram. Come back over here. After the 2p, we then fill the 3s. 3s can only hold 2 electrons, so one going up, one going down. That now makes a total of 12 electrons in my picture. Still need to put some more in there, so after the 3s orbital, we come to the 3p orbital. So that was 12 electrons. This is going to be number 13, 14, 15. This will be 16, 17, 18. Now this is where students start to get into this mode of just filling left to right on this orbital diagram. You always want to stop after you have filled a complete orbital to then go back to Aufbau's diagram to check and see which one to do next. We just filled the 3p orbital. So according to Aufbau, 4s is next. If I look at this, I might have been tempted to go on to filling this 3d before doing 4s. That would have been incorrect. So after 3p, we come up here and we fill the 4s. That now puts me at an electron count of 20. Copper requires 29. So after the 4s, we come back and we see that we need 3d. So over here I have 9 more electrons I need to put in my picture. I start going up, that's 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So I make sure that I follow Hund's rule by placing 1 on each line in this orbital until I have them all filled with at least 1, and then I go back and repair them. I see that I've ran out of electrons to complete this energy level. That's perfectly fine. We only had 29 electrons to work with, so once you run out, then that is your stopping point, and you no longer go any further from that. I hope this is helpful. I'm going to go through and finish this out. I'm going to try not to bounce back and forth to make this go a little bit faster. So potassium on our periodic table is number 19. So we have 19 electrons to put in here. According to Aufbau, I start here at the 1s, then I move on to the 2s, then I move on to the 2p. At this point, once I've completed the 2p level, I've placed 10 electrons on here. That means I need 9 more. After 2p comes 3s, and then I do 3p. This right here will put me at 18 electrons, and then my last one goes on the 4s. Because we have to follow Aufbau's diagram, and Aufbau says that after 3p comes 4s, not 3d. So make sure that you have that correct on your homework. Niobium. It is located here in the middle of the periodic table. It's number 41. So I place 41 on here. So this is going to be a really big one. This one's going to fill up this diagram pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead in here. I'm going to start down here at my 1s. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Come back and pair these. That makes 10. This would be 12. This is 18. Then again, I have to come up here. That's 19. That's 20. Then back down here to the 3D. 21, 22, 23. And that makes 30. After the 3D, if I look at the diagram here, after 3D comes 4p. So I'm at 30. This will make 31. After 4p, when I look on here on my diagram, after 4p comes 5s. So again, you might have been tempted to keep going across in this D, which would cause this problem to be incorrect. So we want to come up here to the 5s. That puts me at 38 electrons now. After 5s, according to Aufbau, we come back to this 4D level. So I'm at 38, this will be 39, this will be 40, and that would be 41, which would complete this orbital diagram. again, once you run out of electrons, this is where you stop. So we don't even have enough electrons to put one on each one of these. That's okay, because we haven't paired any of these, so we still have not broken Hund's rule. It's just the simple fact that we didn't have enough electrons to occupy these last two seats. Okay, hope this is helping. Flip it over to the back. We have nitrogen. So this is going to be a small atom. Nitrogen's number 7. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then we come over here, that's 5, that's 6, and that's 7. Krypton. Krypton is number 36. So 36 electrons. Here we go. That'll be 1, 2, here I'm at 18, that's 19, that's 20, because remember we have to fill the 4s before the 3D.